Hello and welcome. I'm Chris Osborne. This is the Center for Military Modernization, Innovation for Future War, preparing for anticipated conflict or preventing conflict. A lot of it's happening right here at the Air Force Association Symposium. We are at the location of the Air Force Research Lab, cutting edge technology being prepared. We're joined by a scientist, a PhD in aerospace engineering. She is Dr. Emily Doucette. She's here to talk to us. She's from the Munitions Directorate, does a lot with weapons guidance. We're here to talk about some cutting edge weapon systems. Ma'am, doctor, thank you for being here.
Happy to do it. Yeah, thanks for the opportunity.
One of the things about Golden Horde, which for those who might not follow, it allows weapons to share target information in flight. I have to think one of the big areas of emphasis is AI at the point of collection. So when you're at a forward position, whether it be a platform or in this case even a weapon, it can absorb and process information in real time. This is your expertise. Tell us about this.
I think it's a total game changer to enable our weapons to be interconnected, to be able to share information across the team, because we're so limited in terms of processing capability on board that if they can leverage the strength of the swarm, imagine the wealth of information that the weapons can collect as they ingress. And I mean, all of that is incredibly valuable to future testing, future development, and also in situ reactivity to be more effective as they're employed. So I think it's a game-changing opportunity. What we're looking at in Golden Horde is a way to bring in the best of breed algorithms from across industry to get after that capability. So we've built up an environment in which we can quickly send out a call to industry, say, here's the challenge problem, here's the environment you need to get into, this is what I need your software to do. Boom, deliver it, integrate it really quickly, and test it out in an apples-to-apples comparison. And we've had a really great time doing that, exploring the space quite a bit, and all of our gladiators, that's what we call them, all of our vendors and gladiators have been really bought in and duking it out.
Well, I want to ask about that because I understand there's already been some successful demonstrations. Obviously, you work on the cutting edge that looks 10, 20 years down the road, but Golden Horde's already maturing. There's stuff that's already been airborne. Tell me what's been demonstrated thus far and then what that leads to.
Sure, great. In last year, we demonstrated the first of its kind network collaborative autonomous weapons on inventory Air Force weapons. So we did that on the collaborative small diameter bomb 1. It was a success. We demonstrated a lot of the capabilities I just discussed, sharing information across the team, collaborative targeting, simultaneous arrival, all of those bits and pieces. That was a big success for the Air Force. Going forward, though, we really wanted to broaden the approach to not just one specific weapon system, but really, let's open it up. Let's see what longer ranges, different scenarios. So we really focused on the Coliseum of pivoting from live flight demonstrations to building up the simulation capability based on open architectures so that we can really rapidly explore the space and identify, no kidding, this moves the needle, let's get after this. And in partnership with our program offices, I think we're having great success.
Well, you mentioned the successful demonstration. One has to think in a tactical sense how much this is paradigm changing, if that's not an exaggeration, to the future of war. When you have drones and stealth fighter jets or even ground weapons able to identify targets and then a target that's taking off or moving or multiplying.
Absolutely. So in terms of tactical expertise, we really leverage that of our MAGCOMs. We've also identified a great partnership with Defense Innovation Unit, who have been, no kidding, running hand by hand, side by side with our gladiators, informing what tactics make sense and what do not in terms of real applications for folks with experience. But also, the wealth of information that you could gather by having everything networked together, to me, it makes total sense to enable, in your example, to prevent that target from escaping from where we're trying to follow it and track it. And also the resource management of which platform or weapon is most suited to get after that. So really leveraging the wealth of information across the team is something that I think the Air Force is really pivoting to under the ABMS and JADC2 construct, and the Coliseum is just getting after the weapons portion of it. So we're excited to be part of that.
Well, let me think about this in a better way. You have an enemy vehicle that's on one side of a structure while the weapons are in flight. Let's say small diameter bomb 2, it's 30, 40 kilometers away.
Right.
While it's in flight, the vehicle goes around the other side. Well, one weapon sends the info to another weapon and takes it out. Do I have that about right?
Exactly right. Yeah, that is we call it a play, that a team of weapons could employ, is that important information pass back so that you could potentially decrease the number of aircraft that are required or the number of weapons that are required to defeat the same target. In that scenario, you could imagine where there's no information passed back, you could just keep firing and keep missing. So you would really want to be able to make your team as intelligent as possible. And that would really, I think, decrease the amount of time and potentially the amount of funding it would be required to defeat a target.
And Roger, this is something you could really speak to in terms of the short and long-term implications for this kind of stuff. I'm sure as a scientist, you work a lot on basic research, different kinds of applications 10, 20 years down the road, but something like Golden Horde, it's already been tested. So you're seeing near-term results as well.
We are. And I mentioned earlier that Golden Horde is also building up the simulation architecture to get after bringing in these novel solutions. There's no limitation that novel solution couldn't come from a basic researcher somewhere around the nation. It doesn't always have to come from a specific prime or whatnot. So by having that simulation architecture in place and designed well, we can really bring to bear the crowdsourcing aspect to bring in these novel discoveries.
And instead of one weapon, like I understand with hypersonics, there's tech insertion going on to better enable maneuver in flight. But we're not just talking about one weapon, multiple weapons. You can blanket or essentially attack a massive area all in coordination.
That's exactly right. So it's really just a capability for a suite of any platform to be able to share knowledge across it to best prosecute any particular set of targets across a large geographical area, just as you described.
Couple last quick things. In terms of transport layer, it can use RF, millimeter wave, data links, all kinds of different technologies to share that information.
That's right. So we've focused on utilizing specific weapon data links just in previous experimentations. We had a partnership with a developer there to do that. But you can pull in information from all of those different sources that you've described and then utilize your particular data link to share the most pertinent and important information at the time that the other teammates would need it.
And in part because, as you said, Doctor, you have that organization and that processing happening at the point of collection. Does the weapon itself have built-in algorithms such that it can receive information, organize it, and share it?
Exactly. That is what the Golden Horde autonomy gladiators brought to bear, is really the sense making of what, based on what's going on with my own ship and what I'm hearing from my partners based on their sensors or my onboard sensors. How do I make sense of the best play to call to move forward to be most effective?
Roger. Well, scientist, I'm sure you're thinking 10, 20 years in the future. What's next for Golden Horde? It's had one successful demonstration. Our last question, where might you see this going in the near term and then long term?
Exactly. So we've, over the past year, after our demonstration on the small diameter bombs, we pivoted to building out the Coliseum simulation architecture. We issued challenges to industry to get after a specific set of scenarios, and they were wildly successful. We were so excited to see the results that they had. And we'll be doing a similar but more scaled down approach of that to mature some of those high performing technologies in a more relevant environment. So that's kind of the next step over the next year.
Roger. Dr. Emily Doucette, aerospace engineer, Air Force Research Lab scientist, painting a picture for us, talking about the innovation that will help prepare the U.S., the Air Force, and the entire Pentagon for future deterrence. I want to thank you, Doctor, and thank you for watching us.